Are you about to watch this video and you're not liked and subscribed to it? Like the video, please. Just go down. It's right there. It's right there.
I did. I hit it. I hit it. Have you hit it?
Welcome back to Starting Nine.
Let's go.
Episode 289. We are done with the Atlanta leg of the World Series, Dallas. We've played 2 in Houston. We've now played all 3 in Atlanta. Every game that you could have possibly seen in Atlanta this season for the Braves,
done.
It's been completed.
Over.
No more.
And
Shut down. We'll not play another game there this year.
There's only one possibility left as far as predictions go. Atlanta in 6, gone. That's no longer a reality.
What did you pick?
I had the Astros in 6.
Oh, yeah, that's gone. Atlanta in 6 is still on the board.
Well, that's what I meant. Was the Astros?
Yeah. Astros in 6 is out. But I went Braves in 7, which I do not want. I don't want to be right.
Well. Let me ask you this: are you starting to feel similar to what I was laying out early on at this series? Like, hey, you don't want this thing. What did I tell you about the series before this? You do not want this to get back to Houston.
No, I wanted it to go back to Houston, but they cheated. Anyways.
No, you did not want it to get back to Houston, and it did, and they moved on. And now we're at that point. We're at that point where it feels like the Astros, it feels like the Braves had an opportunity. They did,
but
an
it's
opportunity.
Different. Red Sox went back to Houston down 3-2. The Braves have a 3-2 series lead.
That's fine. That's fine.
And you know what they have that the Red Sox didn't have in their back pocket?
What? Pitching?
The Max Fried redemption game. They didn't have that in their back pocket. The Red Sox did not have the Max Fried redemption game ready to go. The Atlanta Braves, they have that, Dallas. They have the Max Fried redemption game ready to go. And do you want my honest gut feeling about what's going on here?
Please, by all means.
I don't love it. I don't know if this is like.
So you're not too excited about the Max Fried redemption game?
No, that's not it. That's not it.
Well, that was exactly where you just went with
that's
that.
No. I am excited about the Max Fried redemption game. I don't know if this is like the gut feeling from having watched a lot of Astros and Braves baseball this year. If it's genuinely how I feel, or if this is ALCS PTSD, I don't know which one it is. However, I feel like the Braves, I don't want to say needed to win that Game 5, but I don't love having to go back to Houston.
Well,
and I think a lot of it is just simply because, Max Fried, yes, stud, awesome in the second half, hasn't necessarily been great in the postseason. And you don't have Charlie Morton.
It
would be different if it was like the Dodgers were like, yeah, the Dodgers got to go back to Houston for the last 2, but like they've got fucking Scherzer in Game 6 and Walker Buehler in Game 7. It's like you all right, let's fucking go. But you've got a struggling Max Fried and who the fuck knows in Game 7.
And it feels like that what the offense did for you early on, especially in this last game here, Game 5, like. You had to capitalize on that. An early 4-run lead, an early grand slam from Duvall, and you feel like we're in a great spot here. Framber Valdez is out there shaking like a leaf on a tree in a gale force windstorm. Shit is not going well for him. What did he get? 8 outs? 9 out? I mean, not.
I think it was 8.
So you needed to be able to walk away from that game with an early offensive outburst, a winner. And that did not happen. And it kind of feels like the Astros have been sort of dizzy and punch drunk maybe in the middle of the ring, taking blows, blocking a couple, maybe throwing a counter punch here and there. But now it's like did we just weather the storm? Like, did we just let this guy go off and swing his way out of the ability to put us out of our misery? Like, Jared, you get on the ground, you get after it for a few minutes. Guy gets you in a pretzel. He's trying to finish you, but you just don't tap. You won't tap. You won't give in. That dude could very well gas out. Those arms that he's using to try to constrict the very life you need to keep going, he could be toast if he's not able to put you away. And the last place he wants to be now is either on his back or trying to stand up on his feet and defending himself without the ability to defend himself or create or mount any sort of offensive attack. And I would hate for this game to represent the Astros withstanding the rear naked choke and the Braves being the gentleman who is now gassed out. Arms are toast. I can't squeeze any tighter, and they're still breathing. What is happening? I don't want that for the Braves, but it feels like with this cast of characters that the Astros have and the mindset that's kind of where they're at here. Like, sure, maybe we should have been put out of our misery, but you know what? We weren't. Hey, guess where we're going now? Oh, yeah. We're going back home. We're going back home. Sure, we haven't hit with runners in scoring position over the first 4 fucking games or whatever. The Astros had 4 knocks over the first 4 games with runners in scoring position. They had 5 last night.
And the fact that Martin Maldonado and fucking
Marwin
and Marwin Gonzalez combined for 5 ribbies.
Well, you know what that tells you right there?
Tells you that shit's not going the Braves' way.
Well, that tells you shit's not going the Braves' way, obviously, but that's the scary part about the Houston Astros is because if you've been and which
Zach Greinke's got 2 knocks in this World Series,
and he wants more. The best part of that entire ball game was when Zach Greinke looks over at Freddie Freeman after Freddie Freeman tells me, "Hey, that a boy way to swing it." Yeah, I want 2 more fucking ABs though.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, you see what's going on? Every time I step up, I get knocks, guy. I'm on the bag. Yeah. You're like, what, Dusty? Get your fucking mind right, pal. Keep running me out there.
Greinke, though. I got a take for you, Dallas.
But before you get to that, the Maldonado, Marwin Gonzalez showing up and producing, it almost feels like Braves fans have been like totally okay with and not wanting to acknowledge that they've really been dealing with a 7-man lineup in the Astros. And now it's like, oh, that's right. When everybody in that lineup produces, or if, say, a guy at the top that's been struggling isn't producing, but one of those dudes down there, a Maldonado or a Marwin, fucks around and gets a couple knocks, that's right. They're a complete team. I forgot about that. Oh, shit. Like, all we've been talking about is Maldonado and what he does behind the plate and how important he is controlling the running game and how much he means to the staff, especially during this bullpen era and this moment where the biggest stage is going to require handling multiple arms days in a row. You're not talking about Martin Maldonado walking up to the plate with a bat and doing damage with it. Well, that's happened now. And it's like the Braves are like, oh, hold on, wait a minute. You're not supposed to be getting hits, okay? You and the other dude, you guys aren't supposed to be scoring runs and shit. Like, that's for the other guys. Like, they're okay to do that. But we didn't factor all 90 of you motherfuckers into this.
Yeah. It's the longest lineup in baseball. It's the longest lineup in baseball. There isn't an easy out. You can look at how shitty of a regular season Maldonado had offensively, but he made his presence felt in that ALCS. The strike him out, throw him out of Travis Shaw at the plate, Alex Verdugo trying to swipe a bag, strike him out, throw him out. Like, that was essentially in Game 6, the moment that they clinched the pennant, was a Maldonado moment. And then he starts driving in runs last night in an elimination game. You're down 3-1 in the series. You got Maldonado driving in 3 runs, a couple knocks. He's making his presence felt in this World Series. But I think what I kind of keep coming back to is while it was impressive what the Astros were able to do in Game 5, that was the Braves' game to win. Like
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that like they got screwed or they blew it. It's just, you had a fucking first inning grand slam, and then you get Freddie Freeman to hit a bomb that was the longest home run, wasn't it, of like the Statcast era? It was like they can't confirm it was the longest home run of his career, but like since they like kept track of distance, it was as longest of his career or something like that. I know it's the longest of the season for him. Yeah, you get that. And you've got to – I'm not – and that's not to say –
No, you can say it. You can say that they've got to win that game.
No, I'm not – it's not to say that 5 runs should be enough to beat the Astros, because I don't even necessarily believe that. But when you get a grand slam in the first inning, you got to build on that, especially when you got Framber on the ropes. And Freeman got the home run that Freeman hit was a sinker up to Freddie. So you get him for 5, and then you just stay right there the rest of the game. Like, a credit to the Astros bullpen for that.
Well, that's where that comes into play. Is you got dudes rolling. I mean, 6 1/3 innings of shutout baseball.
Yeah,
from the bullpen.
Who's impressed you the most out of the Astros bullpen this postseason?
Ooh, I don't know. I like if I'm being honest.
Candidates.
What's that?
So there's a few candidates.
Yeah, I would say, and I mean this, like, I don't want to say this and it feel like I'm slighting any of these guys, because that is just simply not the case. Having watched these dudes all year long, I'm not seeing anything that I don't think that they're capable of. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So, like, watching Kendall Graveman go about his business, I'm not, like, taken aback, like, wow, he's really thrown the ball. Like, this is what I've known this dude to be capable of. I mean, maybe it's Stanek.
Yes, that's my pick.
I mean,
or Javier, but probably Stanek.
Like, you come into spots where you absolutely need swing and miss, and you absolutely need, like, if you're gonna touch it at all, it's got to be the weakest contact possible. Like, Stanek has proven to get the job done. He's been a very much needed resource for them during this time. But, I mean, Garcia, Urquidy in his spots.
Urquidy is supposed to be the Game 6 starter.
Phil and Matos, Phil and Maton.
And by the way, Maton, very pedestrian reliever before the postseason started, and just like goes God mode in October. Love that from him.
Yeah, what's what you need, dude? It's what you need. Yeah. Step up.
They've got guys. I mean, the Astros have multiple relievers and Kendall Graveman, another one, that when you see them on the mound, you don't love your chances. Multiple. They've got multiple guys. We're not just talking 1 or 2 here. So a credit goes to the Houston Astros bullpen for this one in a game that, I'll go there. Yeah, the Braves should have won that game. You fucking had a first-inning grand slam. You win that fucking baseball game.
But here's the one thing that kind of, I don't want to say plays into your favor, but if you're gonna give up a grand slam, and Dusty Baker, I think, said this. He talked about this, and it's so true. I want that happening against me in the first 2 innings, 3 innings. Let that happen early, because I want you to feel like you've done enough early in the ball game. That can create a little complacency in that offense. 4 runs, 1 swing. Work here is done, boys. Great job. Let's just put together some at-bats and blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, you look up, it's the 7th inning, scores 4-3, and we're only 1 swing away from making this a tie ball game again. But should that big blow come in like the 6th inning, you're like, fuck, we only got 9 more outs right now to score 4 more runs, at least, just to tie this fucking game. So it's a completely different mindset. Totally different. And I think offensively, when those happen later in the game, you feel like you've just delivered the death blow. And now everybody that they're going to run out there after that is just a sacrificial lamb. You're not looking at those next arms as hurdles. Like, oh, those are tourniquets right there. Those are the guys that are going to stop the bleeding. That's not who you're looking at them as. You're looking at those dudes like they're just being fed to the fucking wolves because we just popped you for 4 and you're throwing in the towel, running out your minus side now. Time to get to banging. That happens early. You're like, okay, all right. Well, we still got a lot of ball game left. Still got a lot of ball game left. And guess what? It was more than enough ball game for the Astros.
Yeah. It sounds like the Atlanta Braves could have used some better help in that fucking game. Game 5, 4-0 in the first. You don't win the ball game. But the best way to think about therapy, better help, is through a bunch of analogies. We get our cars tuned up to prevent bigger issues down the road. We get annual checkups to go to the gym, maintain physical wellness, prevent injury, disease. We do chores regularly to avoid a giant mess of a house. Going to therapy is like all of the above. It's routine maintenance for your mental and emotional wellness to prevent bigger issues down the road. Therapy doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means you're investing in yourself to keep your mind healthy. Barstool Sports agrees because they're offering BetterHelp services to their employees as an added benefit to help take care of their overall well-being. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. You don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Why not invest in everything else? Why invest in everything else and also not your mind? Why wouldn't you do that? Got to do that. It's important. Starting 9 is sponsored by BetterHelp, and our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/starting. That is BETTERHELP.com/starting. Okay, so the take that I alluded to earlier, Dallas, I want to be wrong about my prediction of Braves in 7. I want to be wrong about that because I think where I've arrived on the remainder of this series now that we're through 5 games and it's 3-2 Atlanta, going back to Houston, I think the Braves need to win Game 6 because I think if the Astros win Game 6 and force a Game 7, you've already burned Max Fried and you don't have Charlie Morton. You're not going to have Fried being able to come out of the bullpen or whatever. I don't love the Braves' chances if it goes 7.
If it goes 7, I'm sorry, I've said this. Houston, if the Astros win in 6, it's going to feel like they've already won in 7. It's going to feel like Game 7 just becomes a formality. And I think a lot of that has to do with the psyche as well. A lot of the fans, oddly enough, are trying to get ahead of the Atlanta sports team's curse and talk about that that's not going to happen, that's not what's happening here. And as of right now, no, it's not what's happening. It's baseball. This is how baseball goes. You got to play multiple of these games throughout a series to determine a winner. So there could be a couple of victories in a row that get you really excited. There could be a couple losses in a row that make you feel like, fuck, it's happening again. Well, as we sit, it's 3-2, and we're heading back to Houston. To your point about winning Game 6, needing to win Game 6, if they do, well, obviously, Jared, that conversation, dead. D-E-D,
Have you ever in your life experienced like a World Series or an LCS where a team had a series lead, one win away from winning a championship, and it felt like they were down in the series almost?
See, that's how I'm glad you are being open and honest about your feelings about the Braves in this space here, because there's not really another place where you can share your thoughts and emotions safely without being attacked. So for you to openly admit that even with a lead, the Braves still feel like they're losing this series,
It doesn't feel. I don't want to say it feels like they're losing the series. It just doesn't feel like they're in control anymore.
Even with a lead, even only like
Yes.
Jared, all they got to do is record 27 outs and score one more run than the other guy, and they're going to win the World Series.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I don't think I'm not sitting here saying I'm not jumping off. I'm not saying the Braves aren't going to win. I reassured a Braves fan friend of mine this morning. I was like, "What are you so upset about? Braves going to win. Braves still going to win this. Just you know
what
you'd
it
like
is?
to not go back to Houston, but they're still going to win." I'm not saying
They could feel that energy, Jared. They could feel you not believing that. Okay,
that's not. No, it's not that I don't believe. I do believe that.
I don't.
I do believe that.
I don't think you do.
I do believe the Braves still win this World Series. However, and I worded that wrong. It doesn't feel like they're losing
Oh, he's back
in the series. It does feel like they've lost control. Would you not agree with that?
I mean, I felt like the Braves have been playing with house money.
No.
I do feel like they've been fortunate to be where they're at right now. So the idea that they've seemingly had control to a point where it was just a done deal. Look, 3-1. 3-1. You were
3-1.
in control.
It
You
feels
are
like-
in
like-
control. You're not.
It
You
feels
can't
like,
be
like
any more.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu, where it's just like the Astros are gonna let you start this out where it's like, all right, I'm gonna start out on my back. You can stand up.
Yeah, take guard.
Yeah, you can have all that, and all right, go. I'm gonna put myself at a disadvantage, and then the Braves accept, and they strong arm the Astros, and then it just feels like the Astros have the ability to take control if they want to.
This is what it feels like. Is do you remember the fight between Nick Diaz and Anderson Silva? This is basically
I've probably seen it.
The Astros pulled a Nick Diaz and they laid down in the middle of the octagon and they're like, "Come on, just come on. What are you dicking around? Come on down here. Let's fucking do this down here. Come on, I'll just fucking lay down." And they're like, "You know what? Fine, fuck it. We'll go down there and we'll beat the shit out." Hold on. We'll let go of my arm. Let go of my fucking. I bet if you let go of my arm, I'll fuck. Now he's got my leg. Well, fucking. If you let go of, all right. Well, fucking. All right. If you let go, I bet you won't fucking let go now. Though you let go, watch what happens. Fucking watch what happens. Let go again. Go ahead. Fuck. They're not letting go.
Mm-hmm.
Can we stand this up? Can we get this back? Can we get this back to the? That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Like, did we fuck around and come down to where they're at now, and now we are going to have a tough time getting back up?
It's basically what it feels like, Dallas.
That's unfortunate because, to your point, the cavalry ain't coming. The cavalry ain't coming. You will not have a heroic burst through the bullpen gate scene from Charlie Morton. It's not happening. And the gentleman that you would want behind Charlie Morton to kick that same gate down, we start the ball game for you tomorrow. So if Max Fried can't drive that nail
He will.
all the way into the coffin, it damn well feels like there could be an Undertaker-type moment.
Well, keep in mind, Max Fried cannot drive that nail by himself. He's going to need some help. And do the Astros, did they name a starter because they had to use Urquidy out of the pen?
No, I don't think they've named a starter yet.
No, they haven't.
Garcia?
That's an option. So he would be on short rest. But Max Fried is named. The Astros TBD. But yeah, it'll probably be Garcia on short rest and then The kitchen sink in a Game 7. Oh, boy. That's really, I mean.
Just 3 bullpen games in a row. Game 5, Game 6, Game 7.
Fuck it. Why not? Fuck it. Who was it that was like Josh Beckett? I saw like some story about like Josh Beckett being like, it's not the baseball game that I grew up playing and blah, blah. Like, it's like, I get that it's different and the pace may not be better. But the game is smarter. It's almost like, if you're struggling, and we saw it kind of with Framber there, dude gives up a grand slam in the first, and he's allowed to continue. I feel like a lot of times, grand slam in the first inning in the playoffs, you're getting taken out of the game. He was at least allowed to continue. The Astros find a way to win the fucking ball game, which was very impressive. But the leash in the playoffs is as short as it's ever been, probably ever will be. I don't know how it could be shorter, but. Yeah, I think I was surprised when I saw Framber being allowed to take that first AB because I believe at the time it was 4 to 1. I think it was 4 to 1 or 4 to 2. I think it was 4 to 2 with a runner on, and it's like, I mean, this is an elimination game here, Dusty. Like, why? I mean, Framber.
But there were 2 outs, right? Weren't there 2 outs? There were 2 outs because he punched out to end the inning.
Correct.
It's like, look, dude, how many runs would have scored right there? If you get a hit, just a knock, 1 run.
I don't even think a run. I think there might have been a runner on first. So I don't even know if a run would have scored. I can't remember if it was. I don't think it was a runner in scoring position.
So that's where, like, right, and that's where that's why I'm going here. Is this is where you have to evaluate when you're starting to talk about trading outs for runs, and you're starting to trade. Now you're trading personnel for outs. And you're running the risk-reward algorithm in your head. All right, are we facing a guy right now where it's going to take multiple knocks to score a run? If so, I've only got 1 guy on base right now, which means this guy I'm getting ready to pull into the ball or put into the ball game and pull my pitcher. He has to at worst here, guy's got to hit a double because I need that run for this resource here. Because I have to go to an arm down there. The guy who's going to get me 3 more outs and maybe get me closer to what I'm dealing with, he's going to be out of the ballgame now. I don't know that I need to sacrifice the outs he could give me for this resource here at this point in the game, knowing that I might need the guy behind him to come up and get another knock for that move to pay off. So this move right here isn't going to pay itself off right here. Like the return isn't going to be instant. I'm almost going to need an inning to be built with 2 outs for that move to pay off. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what Framber do though? He got him
Punched.
2 more. Did he get? He punched out, but he got him 2 more outs, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I think who did he get pulled for? Was it can't remember. But yeah, I mean it was a very surprising outcome after the way that game started. Adam Duvall hits the grand slam. All the momentum is in the Braves dugout. By the time Freddie Freeman hit one, it was already tied, so I believe that made it 5-4. But yeah, I mean the Astros lineup is absolutely relentless. The fact that they were able to overcome a first inning grand slam on the road, come back and silence that crowd, because I think what did they say? It was something like 130,000 people were just in the general vicinity of the ballpark ready to celebrate a championship.
Oh, it's madness.
They all had to go home.
It's madness. The battery
sucks.
Is mad.
That's crazy. They were saying on the broadcast the last time a home team has clinched a World Series was the Red Sox in 2013.
Well, I always go back to 19, where both teams
never won a game at home.
Never won a fucking home game. That's just
that's weird.
That's ridiculous to think about. I wanted to say this because I've seen a lot of shit talking about the broadcast, and I'm in no way defending what you're hearing from certain individuals. Let me just say this. It's now a 4-hour game. It's now a 4-hour product that you're being asked to dilute. You're being asked to bolster at times. And nobody across baseball is used to doing that at a 4-hour clip, day in, day out. Most baseball games, 3 hours. So all the filler and all the highlights and all the backstory and all the blah, blah, blah. Sometimes shit falls flat. Sometimes it's dead. You're like, what the fuck is going? What are we talking about right now? What are they doing? It's an animal. It is an animal. It's a different animal. The postseason broadcast, the postseason games. So just keep that in mind. I'm not telling you to come off your takes about people or your opinions about people. I'm just telling you, keep that in mind. Because it is something that I've noticed. And I'll say this. When you have guys that are in the booth, that are watching the game from where they're watching it, with the dirt under their spikes that they have, because you're not talking to some dude who's just happy to be at a World Series event. You're talking to a Hall of Famer. And how that individual perceives the game, sees movement of the game, they're tapping back into their career that at times spans a decade or multiple decades. There's a lot of evolution and growth that has occurred during those windows, and at times it feels like there wasn't much at all. So it's not your Uncle Larry or your Aunt Sue who's breaking down baseball in 2021 right now for you. You're getting a lot of what yesteryear was like and what today is like, and whether you want to admit it or not, the game is almost unrecognizable when you compare the eras. So I'm not asking you to, like I said, not feel the way you feel about it. Just have a little understanding that when a guy is telling you he doesn't recognize starting pitching anymore in these types of games, you have to remember that that's a guy who in a winner-take-all game got outdueled by a dude who pitched 10 fucking innings in a Game 7. Let me just say that again. 10 innings in a Game 7. If you can hear me say that to you and go, yeah, but then that right there is kind of where the issue starts. Like, just appreciate it and then move right back into your opinion. But you can't look at that and go, well, where the fuck's this guy coming from? What does he mean? What's he talking about? Like, there's some merit to that. I'm not telling you that.
We'll never see that again, though.
Well, that's the point. Appreciate
exciting.
that.
Yeah. I mean, it would be super exciting to see a guy go 10 innings in a Game 7, but like there will be a manager who will more than likely correctly say, best case scenario, it's like, all right, this guy's at 90. Let's say he's at 94 pitches. Does he come back out for the 10th?
Let's say, Jared.
Definitely a bullpen arm back there that's got more to give in that 10th inning than this guy at 94 pitches.
And you know what? The problem or the difference is back then, there wasn't just 98 waiting around.
No, there wasn't.
There wasn't three dudes down there.
Your bullpen was a majority or almost an entirety group of failed starters who just needed to have a job. It's like, yep, okay. Like, it didn't work out for you as a starter. I guess that means you're a reliever. Now you've got guys that have made relief pitching an art. Like, they are arm barn OGs. And they come out there and they can throw 98 and they've got wipeout sliders and all kinds of shit.
They have been born and bred to dominate the crank tank.
Right.
That's exactly that. They've got crank tank DNA coursing through their veins. They don't know what it's like. What do you mean? To start a ball? Who starts a ball game? Don't they just like let the simulation go and then call us in like around the 6th. Isn't that how baseball goes? They have no idea that pitchers start the ball game these days. That's fine. That's just it's different. And so when you feel like you're hearing somebody fire arrows at today's game, I totally understand it. I totally understand it. I also understand when those curmudgeons or those quote-unquote old dudes are like, I just can't I can't relate to this. I don't know what this is like. I've heard them say that to me, and my response is, I know, dude. I know. Trust me. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the stories you've told me about you throwing a complete game before you leave spring training. Like, that's just never going to that's just not a thing. And
people were doing that?
Jared, that was how guys gauged themselves and based themselves on, yeah, I think I'm ready. Like, this is where I'm at. Now I'm ready. Because if you're one of those first 3 guys in that rotation, Jared, you're the 3 dudes who allow the bullpen thing to happen on day 4 and 5. Is those first 3 guys that are logging 200 plus? Those are the dudes from yesteryear who were looking at today's game going, what? And they're not wrong. It's just a different world. That's all. They can't relate to it. Whereas today you might tap a guy and go, hey, think you got 230 innings this year for us? And they're going to go, oh, like in the same year? Like all at once? Or how do you want me to do that? Like, there's like 5-6 guys in the game that might have that mentality, it feels like. It's just a different game. That's all. It's just different. Expectations. How we're going to win this ball game. It really doesn't look like it's with you throwing your 136th pitch in June. Okay? That's not how we feel like we're going to win this game.
Who the fuck was throwing complete games in spring training? Like, why? I don't remember that. Yeah. I guess it was more like a pre-Twitter era, but I feel like
Jared, we're talking,
that would have been...
We're talking 70s, 80s.
Yeah. Because I was like, even like with Pedro, right? Like, I don't remember being like, yeah, you know how Pedro used to get ready for the season? He used to fucking chuck CGs.
Yeah, no, Stewart, Dave Stewart is a guy that I talked to about this. And he was like, yeah, you're trying to get as deep into that ball game as possible. Like, I want to finish a ball game in spring training letting myself know I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to go for the season. Excuse me? I was breaking camp throwing 5 innings. Like, all right, he's up to 85. It's great. It means the restrictions will be off. Opening day, good to go. 100 pitches. See how many outs. It's just different, man. It's just super different.
Hey, there's one thing that you can say about baseball now compared to before. It's fucking different, man. It's just not the same.
No,
it's not the same.
You don't have to put good or bad on it. Doesn't have to be labeled good or bad.
Yeah. I do want to label something good though, and that's Shady Rays, because I know that you're a big Shady Rays guy. I know that it's your go-to.
Huge Shady Rays guy.
Yeah.
The sunglass season has come and gone. Losing your sunglasses season has come and gone. Or has it? Because it's now Borden season. It's powder season, Carrabis. Powder season. Whether you're out ripping fucking face on the side of the mountain, just throwing super icy buckets all over, digging trenches, don't matter, bro. Fucking don't matter. You're going to need shades. Shades to keep that reflection off your grill. And I promise you, nobody does better than the homies at Shady Rays. Lost, stolen, broken. Don't fucking matter, bro. Doesn't matter. Maybe you left him on a frothy little frosty. You and the homies made it the tip top. Well, guess what? Shady Rays got you covered. They will dial you the fuck back in. Little to no cost. Jared, tell these people what kind of deal they have.
The thing is, Dallas, with Shady Rays, you're talking about a promo code right now? Is that what you want from me?
I need a promo code. I need something.
9. The word is 9, like starting 9.
Okay.
NINE. And guess what it gets you off?
Oh, hold on. You talking about Shady Rays getting me off?
Yeah.
Fucking, I am all ears.
50% off 2 or more pairs. Buy one, get one free. Everyone loves a fucking BOGO. You can get 2 pairs for just $48. ShadyRays.com, promo code 9 NINE, 50% off 2 or more pairs. BOGO, baby.
Yeah,
I love that.
The buy one, get one is such a solid deal. Such a solid deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you pass that up.
You don't.
You don't.
You don't pass it up, Dallas.
You go to ShadyRays.com.
Mm-hmm.
You're entering the code 9. That's NINE for 50% off 2 or more pairs. Buy one, get one. Do you understand? Let's just do the math real quick here. You get 2 pairs for $48. Come on. As I like to say, it's a fucking no-brainer. All right? So get your Shady Rays ready for powder season.
Dallas,
Jared.
since your pre-series prediction is no longer a possibility,
It's not.
mine is still in play.
Yes, it
And
is.
I don't want to say that I've adjusted mine. I've
You
sprinkled some.
No, you're a big adjuster.
What the fuck, Siri? My watch was talking to me. I've sprinkled some context to the pick. I'm going to give you an opportunity right now to make a new pick, since your first pick was trash. No pun intended. I don't.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I didn't say that.
Wow,
Woo.
Jared.
Woo. I just knew.
Couldn't
Hey.
help himself.
Hey.
Couldn't help himself.
I said
Thought
it
you
was
were over
not
that.
intended. I said
Oh.
it wasn't intended.
Man,
If I was bitter, I would have said pun intended.
turn the page. God,
But it's not intended.
cheap shot.
Was not intended.
Lowbrow humor here.
Anyways, I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to give you a chance to amend your pick to something different before Game 6 in Houston tomorrow night, Tuesday night.
No, it's Astros. It's obviously it's now Astros in 7. Which is this is very interesting.
It's
that
obvious? It's obvious?
No, I meant obvious as in what my pick would be obvious because I'm still rolling with the Astros to win this series, and that can't happen.
You got
in
money
6
on
games.
the Astros or something?
And all I'm gonna say is that the Astros.
Dallas is the perfect candidate to be one of those guys where it's like, you know what? I fucking hate the Astros because they play in my division and what happened in 2017. But if these motherfuckers, if I got to sit there and watch these motherfuckers win the World Series, I'm at least going to make some money off of it.
You goddamn right, Jared. Hey, I might not be the brightest bulb in the box, Jared, but that money's got an IQ. That money's got an IQ. So I'm going to let it go to work. That's just how I feel. I just find it very interesting because you've said right here on this very podcast today that the Braves are a ship without a rudder. You have said the Braves have lost all control. You have said the Braves are essentially asleep at the wheel. No idea what's going on. I couldn't believe it the minute that those words left your mouth. Just the way that you've been beating the Braves drum. So to hear you tell me that you feel like they have lost all control.
I don't think I used the word all. I
That
just
was
said it feels like they might have lost control.
That was shocking. And so you then followed that incredibly alarming statement up with the projection that, well, it's already going back to Houston and they're going to have to play a Game 6. And you said, God forbid there be a Game 7. should there be a Game 7, I believe your words were, I don't see a chance in hell as to how the Atlanta Braves walk away victors of that game. And I don't think I said that. I don't want to put the words in your mouth, but when you said that,
I don't think I said that.
I think it became understood. Like, you know how scary this Astros team is, and you know how scary they can be at home. You know that everything I've told you about being at home and what happens to the psyche of the opposing player, you don't want that to become a thing. And I'm with you. I don't want that to become a thing either. Because while I want the Braves to win the World Series, I have picked the Astros to win the World Series. And Astros Game 6 and 7 at home with sort of the vibe of the Atlanta Braves feeling like they just don't even have a steering wheel right now. I think I like the Astros' chances of scratching and clawing and getting themselves a Game 7.
So you have Houston in 7. That's your new pick.
Houston in 7.
And it has nothing to do with any type of financial commitment you might have made before the series started.
It's simply about making sure that I am taking everything that I'm looking at. I'm taking everything that I feel, including some bets that may have been made prior, and putting all of that information together.
Okay. I mean, my pick was Braves in 7, but I feel like they have to win it in 6.
If they don't win it in 6, they're not winning it in 7.
That is, I don't want to definitively say that. I don't want to definitively say.
You've already kind of said that.
That if the Braves don't win in 6, there's no way that they win a Game 7. But I will say, if they don't win it in 6, they're gonna have a very hard time winning it in 7.
Are you running for fucking office in Georgia somewhere that I don't know about?
No, I'm just, it's just how I feel, Dallas.
How do you think Blooper's gonna feel when he sees clip snipped off? If the Braves don't win it in 6, they've got no shot in hell.
Nope, not what I
winning
said.
It in 7, Jared Carrabis.
Not what I said, Blooper. Not what I said. I said the Braves are gonna. And you know what? Blooper's probably going to agree. He's going to be like, oh, your take is that it's hard to win Game 7 of the World Series? Like, thanks for the red hot take. Like, no shit.
Well, that's you sugarcoating your take there.
No.
Yeah.
That's not what. Nope. That's not what I'm doing.
That's Jared. This is Jared Carrabis' take.
Bob
2
Melvin
seconds
left
after
the
being
A's.
castrated.
Bob Melvin left the A's. No line. Bob Melvin was like, Oakland, see ya.
We'll get there.
What's your take on that?
We'll get there.
I thought we're there. We talked about the games in Atlanta. We talked about, Game 6, Max Fried versus TBD. Not a whole lot to say. It's probably going to be fucking Garcia versus Fried in Game 6. And we did a little, prediction, little Game 7 talk, because I don't think we're going to do a podcast. This is our last podcast before the World Series is over. I just want to make sure that we left enough time to talk about Bob Melvin saying, you know what, Oakland, fuck you, I'm going to San Diego. Which was crazy that he said that after all the years that he spent in the green and gold. But he was like, this team has no fucking shot at doing anything anytime soon. I want to go to an organization where I feel like I've got a chance to win. They're about to trade all the top stars here. So like I'm not trying to manage some bums here in Oakland. So going to try and turn that thing around in San Diego, and off he went.
Look,
crazy.
You don't have to take your hatred for the Braves out on.
I have love for the Braves.
No, secretly, you've got a lot of hate built up in there for you to just completely dismantle their hopes and dreams
Not
of
at all.
competing in a Game 7.
I've got them winning the World Series.
If the World Series is only 6 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair point.
Yeah, it's the majority of the World Series.
Yeah, so is there anything else? No, it doesn't look like
Bob
there's
Melvin.
anything else on the docket here.
Bob Melvin went to the Padres.
Yeah.
I didn't even know his contract was up. He wasn't fired. They just didn't give him a new deal? What happened? I saw it pop up on my phone, Bob Melvin to manage San Diego Padres, and I was like, wait a second. Like, why was that not a bigger story during the season that Bob Melvin was a lame duck manager in Oakland, like fucking Art Howe, just sitting there with no contract, managing a 100-win ball game. And I know that the A's were not a good team this year. They fucking sucked. But, the guy deserves to at least have a guy like Bob Melvin managing out the entire season with no deal after what he accomplished in Oakland. You kidding me?
Yeah,
so I guess the writing was on the wall that he was going to leave. The writing was definitely on the wall. I didn't realize that was the case.
Well,
you would have thought that, it's not like I do a podcast with the fucking Oakland A's broadcaster, that this might have gotten brought up once or twice, that Bob Melvin didn't have a contract. Apparently he didn't, because he wasn't fired. He just walked. What's up with that?
Well, no, Jared, actually, the team had exercised Bob Melvin's option for 2022 back in June.
So how's that possible? If he's under contract with the A's, what is that? How is he managing the Padres? He's under contract.
With the Padres, he is under contract with the San Diego Padres. You're correct.
How is this a situation like in 2012 when John Farrell was managing the Blue Jays and they had to trade for him? I believe the Red Sox traded Mike Aviles for John Farrell.
Yeah,
Padres trade for Bob Melvin. What is going on here? How is he under contract with Oakland, now managing the Padres without any sort of compensation? Well, will there be compensation?
Yeah, Bob will get paid by the San Diego Padres for sure.
Yeah, but wouldn't the Oakland A's get even when Theo went to the Cubs, the Red Sox got compensation for that? Player compensation.
All right, here, let me do this. Let me take off the hat.
Okay.
Of Dallas knows these people. Dallas knows what's going on. Let me take that hat off, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Just took that hat. Now let me put the podcaster hat on. The fan of the team hat on. I don't have, Jared, I don't know any more about this than you do. Let me put that hat on.
Okay.
Okay, so you're telling me what happened is the manager that we had under contract is no longer our manager? Yes. But we picked up his option. We exercised that option for 2022. So back in June, it was a done deal. He was our guy 2022. Yes. Okay. And he's no longer our... No, he's not. He's managing the Yes, he's managing the Padres now. Okay. It does feel like there are some larger price tags attached to some of the individuals who could be driving the base level of the payroll up. And there could be some interest in acquiring some younger talent to help replenish and restock the minor league system. So it kind of feels like if I've got a 3-time manager of the year in my backyard, and I know that a price tag comes along with him, but I'm probably in a position where some of those higher price tags are going to be really paid attention to, whether that's via player movement, via trade. Well, now I'm starting to think look, if we're going to be moving guys, or if that could be a real possibility, and we've got a Hall of Fame manager in his prime with us right now, it's almost like that Sesame Street game, one of these things just doesn't belong here. One of these things just isn't the same. And it feels like Bob Melvin, the 3-time manager of the year, Hall of Fame manager in his prime, might be the odd man out when we're looking at this from a where is the organization headed in the future sort of stance. Because the A's are trying to build a new ballpark too. And
Where is that going to be?
that's going to be in Oakland, California, hopefully.
Are you sure? Oh, hopefully. Okay.
Huge vote just went down last week. Huge vote that had some very central figures in that discussion.
Yep.
Vote yes. Yeah, we would love to continue this conversation. We'd love to build a jewel right here in the port at Howard Terminal. Would love that.
That'd be cool.
So what that means, Jared, is unfortunately wins and losses on the playing field itself seem to be somewhere around third place right now on the list of priorities for the Oakland organization. Because if the ballpark is number one, understood, then the manager can't be number two because the players and the roster construction, that doesn't really feel like there's an emphasis attached to that in terms of building towards a championship. Really, the emphasis feels like it's more about maintaining financial flexibility during a time where we're trying to build a billion-dollar ballpark. So I don't really think, Jared, it becomes tough at all to understand what happened here. I think it's kind of easy to understand what happened here if you're looking at it kind of from where I'm looking at it from.
I mean, yes. I get the central point of what you're trying to say. I just, logistically don't understand how he could be under contract with the A's, but now managing the Padres without being fired or being traded like we saw with John Farrell. How is that possible?
This is where, and if I'm being serious for a minute, this is where having solid relationships in the world you're in, and this is where just being a decent human being comes into play. Because if Bob Melvin wasn't a decent human being, wasn't a quality human, he's probably not walking into anybody's office or picking up the phone and making a call that says, hey, look, I understand the option situation. I understand where we're at here. Where are we at, though? I think that's a fair question for me as Bob Melvin, 3-time Manager of the Year, future Hall of Famer, the most winning manager in Oakland A's history. I think that's a fair question for me to ask, which is the direction of this organization right now. And can you sort of maybe outline for me or just give me a little sense of the priorities here as I make a decision that's going to impact me and my family? And it sounds like, and it looks like, the answer was absolutely yes, Bob. You can have answers to those questions. You deserve answers to those questions. Here are the answers to those questions. And so when you get the answers to those questions, and you also are in a great spot to be able to weigh some other options and compare and contrast, Jared, if I asked you if you were interested in a new job, and this job had some of the most talented players or some of the most talented employees in your field that you were going to be surrounded with, but I told you that you could also stick where you're at, and there's not much changing, and priorities may or may not have actually shifted. So what you really want emphasized and focused on might not necessarily be the case here, but we know it's the case maybe in other places. I don't know that I'm going to have to twist your arm to make that decision for you. I feel like you're going to be able to make a sound decision giving all the factors.
Sounds a little close to home.
Does it?
Well, I don't do football content or gambling content. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it from Bomel's side of things for sure. And I think one of the unique dynamics of all of this is that very, very, not very rarely do you see a manager exit, leave an organization, and there not be some sort of universal celebration. If a manager is getting fired, it's because the team isn't winning. It's because that manager is not someone that the team sees moving forward as a leader of these people. He's lost the room. Reasons X, Y, and Z. Very rarely do you see a manager leave an organization who's not retiring, is going on to manage somewhere else, where the fans of the organization being left are A, devastated, B, in support of that manager going somewhere else. It's like, hey, dude, like, good for you. Get the fuck out of here while you can.
What hurts?
Like, we still love you. We still support you. That is such a rare, if not unprecedented, set of circumstances.
And I hate to say this. I hate to point this out. But you want to know how tough it is on A's fans? This is how tough it is on A's fans, Jared. Is the minute that somebody like this, the winningest manager of these fans' tenure as A's fans, the winningest manager is leaving town. And they're happy for him. And the first thing that they say to him is, go get a ring. You deserve it. Just think about that.
Yeah. Can you think of any other comparable situation, really,
No.
as
Like
it pertains to a manager? No.
No. And it's tough because
Maybe
as a fan, all you're after is a fucking championship. You want that run. That's all you want. You want that run, right? That's why the A's fans love the 20-game win streak. They love what that represents. They remember where they were, Game 16, Game 19, how he hit the homer. They remember that stuff. That's what a championship run provides for a fan base, is a season's worth of memories. The A's fans don't have that. And what they have instead is a manager's tenure that is full of moments. And they know that man because Bob Melvin spends time with the fans. He's not just some asshole who shows up and cashes a check, fills a lineup out, gets kicked out of a few ball games a year and calls it a day. He gives a shit. He's from that area. He's from Oakland, bro. Like, the dude is rooted. And now he's gone. And so it hurts my heart because A's fans are like, great, now he can go get a ring. It's like, fuck. That's how they feel about it. Like, that's how they've been conditioned. Is they pull for other players in other places. Like, A's fans right now, obviously they want the Astros to fall flat on their face. But if you're an A's fan, you're a Braves fan right now. Why are you a Braves fan? Because you're a Stephen Vogt fan.
Mm-hmm.
Where did Stephen Vogt play for the A's? What was he a part of? Some good runs. So they don't have a ring for Stephen in Oakland, but they would love for him to get one on his hand, and they know that that's probably going to happen elsewhere. And that's how they're geared up to cheer for their teams. A's fans are like, can't wait to cheer for this guy while he's here, and then, damn, I hope he lands somewhere nice so he can get a ring. Never once is it a thought that ring gets put on that player's finger while wearing green and gold. And that is fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah. So you had a couple tweets about it. You think that this is just the beginning of the... Would you call it a mass exodus? Is it going to be to that degree?
I don't want to say yes and unjustifiably stir some shit up, but I meant it. It feels like it. If I'm just putting my business hat on, I know what's important here in these next few years for the Oakland organization and for Oakland fans. And they know it too. And a lot of fans have been vocal, which I like to see because it shows a sense of like acknowledging their reality. If losing 95 ball games the next 3 years, 4 years, culminates in a ribbon-cutting ceremony where these fans are being treated to a new ballpark and that community gets the facelift it so sorely deserves and needs, then that 3-year skid is going to be something that they can tolerate. But if we're a year down the road and we're still sitting in on 8-hour-long city council meetings where we're still defining the term non-binding for public fucking servants, that's going to be a problem. That is going to be a problem. You're going to have a hard time getting the possums to show up to the Coliseum for baseball.
Well, hope everything works out for you, Dallas. Sounds like a bad time. I feel bad.
Not great.
I feel really bad. Listen, if the A's go into this pitfall of just irrelevance, we'd love to have you over here in Boston because we're on the up and up right now. You know, Heim Bloom, the Heim Bloom era started a little bit.
You guys know what it's like to be without a manager. So how do I act right now? What do I do?
Well, it's a little bit different for us because like we knew he was coming back, whereas like Bob Melvin's never coming back. I think it's not exactly the most comparable situation, but
no, it is. It is like you didn't have a manager. There was no one writing a lineup out.
Yeah, no. We didn't. We definitely didn't have a manager, but we definitely knew that he was coming back after the fake season was over. And then he did. Now everything's awesome. Red Sox were in the ALCS, and it's just like, all right, yeah, that last place season was just a big farce to get a top draft pick in which the Red Sox got the top prospect in the Major League Baseball draft, you know, for the cost of tanking a season that no one acknowledges as a real baseball season. So it worked out. I mean, Cora came back, and you know, everyone's happy here. But I'm just saying, you know, I feel like, yeah, I saw, you know, the pictures on Instagram, like you and the family, and, you know, you guys are big into Halloween. That's like a big thing for you. Out here on the East Coast, Salem, it's right down the street. It's basically Halloween year-round. I think you'd love it. I'm not saying to live there. It actually kind of sucks to live there. There's like 2 ways in and out of the whole city. But, you know, the fall in New England, beautiful. It's beautiful. And, you know, we'll have a good baseball team for quite some time now. So I think we're kind of looking at a situation where sustained success will become a reality. And I don't think that'll ever really be a reality in Oakland. So, you know, it's totally up to you. I think you'd fit perfect.
Jared, I can tell you the same thing that I told those other Big 12 D1 recruiters when I had made my decision to become a Red Raider. I understand and appreciate the desire to be a part of something. That's what a lot of people yearn for. They just want to belong. They want to be a part of something. Well, you know what? God gave me hands and a heart, Jared. And that's because I'm here to fucking build something. Not be a part of something.
Okay.
But yeah, feel free, send over some addresses because we've got some we've got some shit going on over here right now that could definitely have me looking to build elsewhere.
Yeah. I mean, like you're right now, Dallas, like in the broadcaster world. I mean, you can do that. That's a lifetime gig. You can do that until the end. But you're still young enough right now. And it's
youngest in the game.
Yep. It's still early enough in your broadcasting career that there's time to establish a legacy in a completely different market. And in the perfect example of that, Dennis Eckersley, Hall of Famer with the A's. I mean, he's beloved. Numbers retired there, right?
True story.
Numbers retired with the A's. He belongs to the Red Sox because of that broadcasting career. They love him here. They love him here in Boston. I mean, you and Eck.
Yeah, well,
that'd be great.
X got a few innings under his belt out there too.
Yeah, he's been around. He's done some shit. He's in the Hall of Fame. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a baseball broadcast, and I tweeted it semi-jokingly, and then I think it was after I tweeted it, I sat on it for a second. I was like, wait a minute. I don't think it's that far-fetched. I was like, Dallas Braden is going to fuck around and become the next manager of the Oakland A's. And I was like, wait. I was like, all right. Realistically, is he going to be the next manager of the A's? Probably not. But somewhere in an office, you look at how old is the new Cardinals manager? 35?
35.
He's younger than you. I was like, somewhere in an office room somewhere, the name Dallas Braden has come up. I think at one point the A's were like, hear us out, right? We just let Bob Melvin leave. Fans are upset. We got our owner yucking it up in Vegas. He's taken 7 business trips to Vegas to try and move this team somewhere else. We already struggle with attendance. We might have to sell off some really popular players. Can't we just throw the fans a bone here and put Dallas Braden in the manager's office? Can't we just... I mean, he's not going to cost anything. Like, he'd probably do it for free. We could probably pay him in fake money and he wouldn't know the difference. What do you say, guys? And I bet you some people in that room were like, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
That conversation shifts when you start to think about where the impact could be felt between, say, a organizational mascot, if you will, and the vibe of the team. Because, Jared, if the fans aren't going to the game, but they're like, fuck it, I'll turn it on, they're not hearing much from the manager.
I mean, you'd be the first manager / broadcaster / podcaster. That I bet you they would probably not just mic you up. They'd probably give you a headset. You can call the game while you're managing it, and it would be the most. I mean, A's broadcast would be the most watched of any out of market broadcast because people would be like, the manager's wearing a fucking headset. He's making calls. We're hearing his thought process as the game goes along. I mean, like, yeah, that might be an advantage for the team that they're playing, but it's fun to watch.
I'm gonna need
no one thinks that they're gonna win a championship anyway.
I'm gonna need a cough button surgically implanted into my arm.
Yeah,
you're just gonna watch.
Yeah, you need like an Apple Watch cough button.
That's what it would be like.
Yeah, it's just something to think about. But I think the alternative would be, maybe packing it up and coming over to the East Coast to join in over here. I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great for both of our careers.
I got one look at Appalachian State, a shot of their baseball field during a nice fall morning, just littered with tons of nice fall colors. It looked like heaven.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you're a big PSL guy.
Huge PSL guy.
How many of those have you ever had on the East Coast?
Do they even do PSLs on the East Coast?
Yeah. Yeah.
But they do them from fucking Duncan.
Dallas, you know that I'm a converted guy.
Did you convert?
I've been converted since 2019.
Since I gave out your number on the live stream?
Before that. Yeah. I'm a converted man.
One of the greater moments in our live stream era.
Someone, I forget what it was. Like, there's someone from that stream that periodically reaches out. I mean, I still don't know what their name is, if they're a guy, if they're a girl, but something happened. I think they congratulated me about the Big Poppy podcast.
Love that.
So they're just like, hey man, congrats on the Poppy podcast. And I was like, thanks, dude, from the live stream last year.
Thank you, streamer.
Yeah. Yeah. they'll just like periodically reach out. Yeah, I don't know, like roughly I would say ballpark 25 strangers acquired my cell phone number that night.
I feel like it could have been a lot more.
Could have been way more for sure. Because I think I was kind of protected by the fact that the stream was roughly like 8.5 hours long. So if you weren't watching it live, it was a real motherfucker to go back and find it.
Yeah.
Even if you knew which stream it was, because there were multiple streams that were 8+ hours.
Yeah, we did a 12-hour
postseason
stream.
So if you weren't watching live, and even if you were watching live, you still have to be good at reading lips, because you couldn't hear Dallas say my number, but you could read his lips and put 2 and 2 together. And I'm sure there are some people. I mean, to be able to get a whole ass phone number correct, I'm sure that some people got sent a text message to the wrong number.
Oh, that was so fun.
Yeah. But I answered everyone. I mean, if they texted me and they were like,
"You're a man of the people."
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I mean, what's the difference between? I guess like the ability to call, which I don't love. I don't answer phone calls. But the ability to text me is really no different than the ability to DM me on Instagram or Twitter. Just it pops up on my screen and I can read what you say. Just don't call me.
Not getting an answer.
No. The only phone calls I'm answering are from Dallas Braden. And sometimes you need those words.
You do.
Mm-hmm.
You do. Life-changing.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Ellen.
Yeah. Or sometimes just to get you out of a tight spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Life-changing words of encouragement. So.
Well, is that all we've got?
Yeah, I think obviously the passing of Jerry Remy, I'm not ready to quite go there yet. I think I want to write something. I want to be able, I think what I want what I have to say about Jerry to be something that I've taken the time to process first and think about and reflect on and be able to read over, make sure that I've done it justice type deal. And yeah, I mean, yesterday was a really fucking hard day. I mean, like I've always kind of been like, I react very, very delayed to things like that. like if someone dies, like it may not hit me till like the next day or the day after before I really like have like an emotional response to it. So I had learned about it the night before, and I didn't like look to confirm it because I didn't want to believe it. Like someone had reached out and been like, "Hey, if you say anything about this, like keep my name private." But Jerry Remy passed. Just wanted to let you know. And I read it. I didn't react to it. I didn't text anyone to be like, is this true? I just kind of hoped that it wasn't. And then the next morning I woke up and it was true. So I at least somewhat had a heads up to be able to brace myself for it. I don't think it made it any easier. But yeah, I think in Boston, there probably was no one more synonymous with the Red Sox. I mean, obviously there's been other figures like David Ortiz and even Don Orsillo before he left, but the consistency of and this is what like I'm excited for for you and the opportunity that you'll have in Oakland is that, you know, baseball fans, like, they're watching 162 games a year, and at least the diehard ones are, or close to it. And I've made this point about the baseball broadcaster's responsibility to be that extra ingredient that help grows the game by injecting, you know, passion and humor and knowledge and insight into a baseball broadcast. And when you're watching baseball every single night, that broadcaster has the opportunity to become the equivalent of like a family member to a baseball fan. Like, you're spending so much time with this person. You know, like say for someone like my age, it's like, you know, you're not calling your dad and talking to him on the phone for 3.5 hours every single night for 6 months at a time. You're just not doing that. So, you know, you feel like you spend time with these people that are on baseball broadcasts if you are sitting there to watch 162 games a year. And with Jerry, it was like, you know, I grew up listening to him on the broadcast, and then I got to meet him when I just graduated high school. I was like, I don't know, 3-4 months out of high school, and we did that Red Sox Nation president thing. I mean, it was my first time. I mean, like, I'm still introverted, and I think I've just done, like, through repetition, I've gotten rid of, like, being skittish about being on camera or being on TV or being in front of people. But when I was class president my junior year of high school, and every time that, like, we had to speak in front of the class, I wouldn't do it. I would make the VP do it. I was like, I can't even speak in front of people that I know. So that Red Sox Nation president debate thing was, you know, they were just like, hey, by the way, you made the top 12 candidates, whatever it was. You're going on Nesson to be on a debate that's moderated by Tim Russett of, like, the Meet the Press, and Jerry Remy's going to be there, and it's going to be like this whole thing. And I was like, what the fuck? It was just trial by fire. And that was the first day that I met Jerry, and he couldn't have been kinder and more considerate to the fact that I was freaking the fuck out about having to do this. And they put his podium next to mine, and in between, like, commercial breaks, like, he would walk over to, like, the podium and be like, you know, you're doing great, kid. Like, just, you know, like, no one can tell that you're nervous. Like, you're speaking with confidence. Like, he was, like, giving me pointers on, like, how to have, like, stage presence, like, through his years of broadcasting, knowing that, like, I was upfront about it. I was like, dude, I don't even know if I can do this. I don't even know. And I mean, he had known me for 3 minutes. And then during the playoffs in 2007, the Red Sox won the World Series that year, and I think that they were doing some Nesson stuff. Their post game, they were doing it outside, kind of like where Fox was doing their coverage outside then. And he was like, hey, because they had named, I think before game 1 of the division series was when they announced, like, Jerry Remy won. He's the president of Red Sox Nation, blah, blah, blah. And it was the first time that I saw him after he won. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, congrats. And he was like, don't worry. Like, he's like, I got a position for you, blah, blah, blah. And then that was the next year when they did all the governors, which was basically like a fan representative for every state. So I was like the governor of Massachusetts, and, like, that's where that came from. And then we just kind of, like, kept in touch, and that's when I started writing my book, and he wrote the foreword to the book. I mean, it was really fucking nice. Like, my mom posted it. Just, like, he could have written one paragraph being like, yeah, like, you know, he's a big fan, we appreciate the support for like, he could have just wrote some, like, generic bullshit, and, like, it was very like personalized, which was awesome. But yeah, I mean, Jerry, it's one of those things in, like, Dallas, you know this, when you are either working for or with or around a baseball team, there's such, like, a sense of, like, community and family, because everyone's there every day, and everyone's around each other every day. And it doesn't matter, like, if you're a player, if you're a ticket taker, if, you know, you're in the press box, whatever. Like, everyone is, like, so super connected to each other. So Jerry, he meant a lot to a lot of people, and you know, it was cool to see all the tributes from the writers and some of the players that spend time with him in the clubhouse, or they're like, yeah, like he would text me, or like sit next to me on the plane on like the road and shit like that. Just all different types of involvement being around the team. And Jerry had the time of day for all of them. And this is a guy that talked about having depression and not being a big people person, like when they would go on the road, like he was notorious for, I go to the park, I call the game, I go back to the hotel, I go in my room, I stay in my room, I come back tomorrow. Like that was Jerry. And for someone like that, and I can totally relate to that now at this stage of my life, for him to still have the energy for all those people and for them to have all these like super positive experiences for someone that, was like that is crazy. But yeah, I think it'll just be one of those things where, I think it was Eckersley that was like, yeah, it'll just, Fenway won't be the same. And it won't because, his broadcast partners, like some of them have come and go and there's been different combinations and all of that. But, the one constant was Jerry Remy. And, he was one of those guys that played for the team. He grew up around here and then he got to broadcast here. So, I mean, the Red Sox were in his blood through and through. So, I mean, you can't teach that. You can't teach, lifelong passion and love for a specific team. So that will be sorely missed. His voice, his sense of humor, his knowledge, all of that will be very much missed. And I'll miss him personally. And I don't know. I felt awkward when people were saying sorry to me. I was like, no. Like this is all of us. Like we all lost Jerry. He was all special to all of us. So, yeah, it'll be difficult to listen to games without him, but that'll be his legacy. Is that people just want to be remembered. At the end of the day, you want to be able to make an impact, and when you're not there anymore, you want people to notice that, and it will 1,000% be noticed. So that's all I got on that.
That was very, very well said, very heartfelt, my friend. And there's no doubt that the Rim Dog deserves every bit of your love and attention, as well as everybody else from Red Sox Nation, everybody else from baseball. And you're right. We are a family, and anytime you lose somebody like this, it hurts the heart of everyone there locally. It hurts the heart of everyone involved in the game. And it was a very sad day, but I have taken solace in reading some of those exchanges and Don Orsillo's threads just about their time spent together. And, I mean, Rem Dog was a fucking real one, man.
Mm-hmm.
A real one.
He was one of one.
So my heart to you, my heart to the Red Sox fan base, and to everybody else impacted by the loss of Jerry Remy. Gone, but absolutely never, ever forgotten. We love you, Rim Dog. We gone.